Things are moving and shaking at the running back position when it comes to these injuries. We're looking at Braelon Allen as the next man up with Breece Hall out. However, we also got to look at Isaiah Davis. Maybe not as a pickup, especially in most fantasy football leagues, but as a guy to watch from afar. And most of these deep dives we do, a lot of times we're watching this ancillary player because there's something going on that could allow him to do something on the field, which we may need to pick that player up the next week off the waiver wire, but we want to be a week early when it comes to our knowledge to them. So we're going to do a deep dive today on Isaiah Davis, see how he can hit for the Jets, what can he do in fantasy football, and what could that potentially look like, and how can we strategize around him for fantasy football. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives all day long. So if you got a question about a player who's trending, look for the deep dive, check what's going on, look at the advanced metrics, and see whether or not you need that player for fantasy football. Click that subscribe button right now. Stop missing out. We're going to do this all year next year too, so don't be worried about that. But the big news dropped. Breece Hall's out, and he might be out longer than expected because there was rumor, I do not know if it was true or not, that he got an MRI on his knee. But I haven't heard anything else outside what was on Reddit. But it is what it is, and we'll see what happens going forward. But he's out this week. Isaiah Davis is going to be backing up or getting touches behind Braelon Allen. Braelon Allen, the next guy up. But Isaiah Davis is in an interesting spot here because he's going to see an increased workload. They've been using him in and out of the offense these last few weeks. Got some extra touches last week, which should have been an indicator for Breece Hall that they were spelling him a little bit more and using some of the other running backs. But Isaiah Davis has been sprinkled in there throughout the season. And going back to South Dakota State, the last 2 years, very productive. And they'll bring out running backs and players who are very productive with a lot of upside. 1,500 yards, 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns last year, 15 the year prior, 15 touchdowns on his career, and yards after contact per attempt. 3.97 last year, 3.75. Sure, in the small school level, but at least we were productive. We showed some upside. We dominated at that portion of college football. We were used a little bit in the passing game. 23 catches on 30 targets last year. Not too much, but you're also running all over everybody. 10.0 yards after the catch per reception. That lets you know that he can get chunk yards if he gets the ball in space. That could potentially happen with him. We get to the draft. We get drafted in the 5th round. A round and a few picks behind Braelon Allen. And you already got Breece Hall. What does that tell you? They think Isaiah Davis was a great discount in the 5th round. They had to pull the trigger. Remind you, they already had Isaiah Bandicanda. They didn't really even need to pick up Braelon Allen. It's just that Braelon Allen, a huge discount. They had him graded higher than the 4th round. I had him graded higher than that. Isaiah Davis going into the draft, I had him regarded as like a top 10 running back. A running back that had a lot of upside. But I knew, like, due to him being a small schooler, there was a good chance that he would go in this range of the draft. But he's got some upside between the tackles. He's got some fluidity there. He's got good vision. He's a developmental running back, but he's got some things to his game that could allow him to really ascend at the NFL level. And another thing about this situation, he's good enough to get Izzy Abanikanda cut. He's good enough to do that. They drafted Izzy the year before. I did a video on Izzy just the other day. A lot of people were interested in him going to the Niners, and they're interested in him because he's bad. Not really. They're interested because he had a good profile coming out of Pitt. He was very productive. He was putting up yards, looked good on tape. They're interested in him, and he flashed in training camp. He didn't really do much with the Jets, but still, he's got some upside to his game, and is a guy that when you pluck off the waiver wire, a young running back with a little bit of promise is very intriguing, and he put him to sleep on the roster. And what I want to show you, this might be the most important thing, is this team will use 2 running backs. They had Breece Hall out there and Braelon Allen. The one thing you could say is Braelon Allen made himself undeniable with how well he played in training camp. They called these guys the Killer Bees. Braelon Allen, highlight after highlight after highlight this summer in training camp. But still, there were some games. He got 11 opportunities, 14 opportunities, 12 opportunities. Usually around 5 to 9, 7, 8, 9 opportunities a game. The thing is, with a guy like Isaiah Davis, we saw him get some work in the passing game. That could be him. And Braelon Allen's not Breece Hall. So maybe he gets like 80 to 90% of Breece Hall. And Isaiah Davis gets enough to where he's getting 9 to 12 opportunities a game on average for the rest of the season if that knee issue lives up to the rumor on Reddit. That being said, Braelon Allen and Isaiah Davis would probably be lottery tickets off the waiver wire. Braelon Allen's the guy to get here, but Isaiah Davis in this 1B role could be a thing we're looking at as a surprise option going into Sunday. Or we look at the touches and we're like, this running back got hurt, I got to pick somebody up. Everybody picked up all these backups because Bruce kept doing videos and they picked them up. How about I pick up Isaiah Davis? Let's see what's happening. He is getting a little bit of touches. That might happen. You're looking at this backfield here. Breece Hall is gone. 4.2 yards per carry, 164 carries, and that work's got to go somewhere. It's not going to go 1-for-1 to Braelon Allen. They might work in the passing game a little bit more and get it to Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Isaiah Davis is going to get some work. But Nguanu out here, elite. Size-adjusted athleticism here. 4.37 40-yard dash. Got speed to burn. He's a guy we've been watching for a long time. He could be a sneaky play here. Pay attention to him. Do not pick him up. Pay attention to him. Unless you're in like an 18-team or 20-team or something like that, and you want to make a random move. Because this backfield, we're keying in on Braelon Allen like everybody else is. But it's also ambiguous for that RB2, that rando touch spot out of this backfield from series to series. That one running back that gets thrusted in there. It's still ambiguous for that. Something to pay attention to. Isaiah Davis hasn't been getting much work this year. Hasn't been running a lot of routes. Indicator that Braelon Allen's going to run a lot of routes. 12 snaps in a game is the most he's gotten. Outside of that, it's 3-1-2. Isaiah Davis is going to get more work, get more opportunity. They're going to see what's under the hood with him to see what he can do on the field, especially going forward with this team. And if he plays well, then maybe they roll with the hot hand as well. He's a guy to look at. He's a guy to pay attention to. You look at this depth chart, Braelon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Nguanu, Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight, fun running back prospect. Watch, see if he gets called up. That probably already happened and I missed it. But he's a running back to pay attention to. He's solid between the tackles. Would not be surprised if he shows up like week 17 and says, hey, it's my job now for the end of the season. If something like that happens, he's good. He's a solid running back that can hold it down for a couple games. And you're looking at these matchups coming up here for the Jets. They got a good schedule. Like one of the best running back schedules in the National Football League. Dolphins are allowing 23.4 PPR fantasy points to game to running back. So they're about middle of the road. They're about average. Same thing with the Rams. A little above average, whatever you want to call it. Average is like at like 23. They're at like 23.4 and 23.8. However you want to dice that up. Jaguars and Bills also on the docket. Ranks 2 and 3 when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. Sign it up right there. Something happens to Braelon Allen even, you're going to want him. Or even Nguanu or anybody else. Watch this backfield going forward because we got a good schedule. The schedule, the workload between Breece Hall and Braelon Allen is another indicator that we could get some trickiness. And Isaiah Davis is a good prospect. Not a slouch prospect at all. And Izzy Abanikanda was not a slouch prospect at all. And he put him to rest. That being said, you need to pay attention to him. You can't pick them up right now. It's hard to stash them right now. Traditional 12-team leagues, traditional 10-team leagues, almost impossible to stash them unless you got deep benches because you're playing a lot of flex spots or something like that. However, 16-team plus, 20-team, 22-team, deep benches, you got like 7 flexes or something like that. Deep dynasty, and he's sitting there for some reason. Usually in deep dynasty, he's on the taxi squad. Whatever it is, in those deeper leagues, the running back position zapped. It's zapped. There's nobody else. This backfield's a little bit ambiguous, and we're seeing the touches get spread around a little bit, which means there is an indicator that Isaiah Davis could be a pickup. And we've talked about Isaiah Davis a few times in the weekly waiver wire videos this season, as in this event, he could potentially be a guy to pick up. We've already forecasted this way long ago in the waiver wire videos that Isaiah Davis is a guy to look at. You need to be looking at him right now You do not have to pick them up. Traditional 12-team leagues, like most of the running backs you're looking at on your roster, most of the wide receivers, you can't really make the case to drop them. You have to pay attention. 16-teamer, 18, 20, 22, higher, deep rosters. You might have to. You might want to make that move. You may want to think about it. You're really going to think hard and see what you could do. It really depends on the situation. But watch from afar. Watch this Jets backfield because they have a very deep backfield at the running back position. And they've been deep at the running back position for a bit here. And there's a lot of indicators that we might get 2 running backs doing something out of here. Or it might be random. It might be off and on. But you need to pay attention to this backfield. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.